Let's see. Hello, hello. Hi there. Karen, can you hear me? Karen? Can you hear me, Karen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. I don't know where everybody else is. Did you have trouble getting in?
No, I did not.
Okay. I'm gonna go get a glass of water. I'll be right back. No one else here. Interesting.
Oh, well.
I know that everybody knows that there's a meeting because Lisa sent out the notice again.
Yeah, it was sort of kind of strange because I never got the link this morning. I mean, normally I'll get hers and I'll get, the one from the town, but, nothing came, which is not unusual because, for various other committee meetings.
I started the recording for you.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, good evening all. It's September 3rd, 2020, 6:30, and we are starting a meeting of the Rules and Procedures Committee of the RTM. We do have a quorum. I see Representative Adams and Representative Luck are available and here virtually. We do not have Representative David Gauthier or Representative Michael Whitehouse currently. Perhaps they will join us. So I have one main piece of business for us to talk to today. And we can also touch on one or two other things, but our main piece of business today is a review of the town attorney opinion of Rule 9.2.1. So we've met a couple times on this rule. last month at the full RTM meeting, we proposed a rule based on some wording that we saw from the Board of Education and some other sources to put in a student liaison to the RTM, and that passed. So that is now a current rule for the RTM. And there were some concerns raised by 2 RTM representatives. I don't know why I can't think of his name right now. Representative Robert, somebody help me.
Bailey?
Bailey, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Representative Mike Whitney as well. And based on that, this was sent to the town attorney to get some feedback as far as, is there some conflict with the town charter? And, we had based a lot of this on the Groton Board of Ed, and really, that has gone through and hasn't been an issue, and it didn't really see that it would be. But the town attorney did come back with an opinion that was shared with this committee, and hope you've had a chance to take a look at that. So there's that opinion is one thing for us to look at. And I don't know, in fact, I'm pretty sure that it didn't go to you. That after the fact, I did speak with the town clerk, and we requested from the town attorney for suggested wording from them that would fit with the town charter for a student liaison. And that is something that we got. Representative Adams and Representative Luck, is that something that you've seen at this point?
That we did get information?
Yes, did you get the suggested wording for a student liaison from the town attorney?
No, I don't believe I did.
No, I don't think I did either. I got the information that he said, or they said, this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
It's against the town charter, but
Okay,
or shall
I'm
we
sorry.
say against what our rules and stuff say are
Or capacities, really.
Yeah.
So I'm going to share my screen now and show you the email then. And I'm sorry, that was remiss of me. I should have made sure you had that wording before now. But I will put it up here, and hopefully you will be able to view that, as long as I can get to the right thing of the zillion things open on my computer here. Okay, I think this is it. Okay, so if this worked correctly, you should be seeing a Word document that actually has 2 parts to it. The top part, Rule 1.4, is the wording of the Groton Board of Education for their student liaison position. So I put that in here really as a reference. Now, this has been in place for quite a long time, I think over 20 years. Perhaps the town clerk could help me with that, but I know it's been in their rules for a long time. Below, you'll see, right, actually where it starts by saying below, please find our suggested revision to Rule 9.2.1. We are hopeful that this addresses adequately the role that you envision for students. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, Eileen. So that's from the town attorney here. And so this is the wording that they are proposing would be compatible with our powers and the town charter, and still basically allow, I think, what our intention is for this position. So what was problematic in the first opinion there by the town attorney was some of the wording for him seemed to mean that we were creating an office, which I don't think was our intention as a committee. Let me know if you felt differently, but I believe our intention was to create a connection with older students, high school students, to try to give them some voice and encourage them to participate and pay attention to local politics, not necessarily to give them an...
That was my understanding.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is maybe I'll just give you a minute to read through the proposed wording here from the lawyer, rather than me just reading it aloud. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
You actually should read it aloud for the record, in
I
case,
should,
in case
okay,
we have anyone watching that can't hear it.
good point.
I mean, they need to be able to hear it, you know what I mean?
Okay. Well, maybe you can read on your own and I'll read it aloud. So the proposed wording from the town attorney is to call it Rule 9.2.1 student involvement. And it goes as follows. The RTM considers the town's high school students a valuable asset and a connection to the town's younger residents, and wishes to encourage high school students to learn about the town's governmental structure and in return to share their perspectives on current matters. In support of these goals, up to 4 high school students who are town residents may, through a selection process developed by the RTM's Community Development and Services Committee, be recognized as student liaisons to the RTM. Students who currently are liaisons to the Board of Education are not eligible. Student liaisons to the RTM may attend RTM meetings, submit written requests or reports to the chair of the Community Development and Services Committee, read requests or reports under the Community Development and Services Committee agenda items or item, develop strategies for outreach to the student population item, that's a little odd right there, and respond to requests from the moderator. So not withholding that little kind of wording in the last sentence there that is confusing me just a little bit. I don't see that this is essentially changing anything. The wording is not using the word like the same, I forget how we had it exactly. Let me see what that was. In our wording that went through, we said something that liaisons shall have the privilege of being recognized to speak during meetings in the same manner as RTM members, although they may not vote or make motions. So that particular part of the wording that we had put together was problematic to the town attorney, saying that there was similarity to how these liaisons and RTM members would be participating, even though voting and making motions was off the table. So instead, the wording here is saying things like, submitting written requests. A lot of it is going through the committee, Community Development and Services Committee. Students may read requests or reports under that agenda item and respond to requests from the moderator. So if the moderator is calling, say, hey, can we have a student perspective on this? They could reach out to the student liaison who may be there, and they can still participate, I think, in the way that we intended as a committee and as the RTM. But I'd like to hear from Representative Adams, Representative Luck, what you think about this particular wording, if it fits for you, if you're saying let's scrap it, make up our own. We have some options here right now.
Well, it seems to me that the wording isn't really that different than what we had in the first place. I mean, we're still using the word liaison, and I thought that was the problem that they had. In the opinion was about the use of the word liaison.
I believe that it wasn't the word liaison as much as it was that it looked like it was an actual office being developed, but I see the town clerk was raising her hand. Yes?
I was actually using the word member. So there was a sentence in the rule where you spoke of RTM member and liaison member as if they were the same, and they really felt I had a little banter and got smacked around a bit, but with the town attorney. But the idea is the same. I think you're on the right vein was what you were intending on doing, but it cleans up any legal term that anyone might have going forward. That's what you always want to be aware of.
Mm-hmm. And we don't have legal background exactly in our committee or anything really close to that. So for me, the wording doesn't essentially change our need, what we were trying to accomplish here. And I'm okay with suggesting to the full RTM that we use this wording in its place. The component that it doesn't include is, some wording around terms. Remember, we had wanted to have somebody kind of commit to a year and hopefully 2 years. But I think that wording was also pointed out as problematic because it seems more like what an office would have than something that's more informal than that. And certainly, you know, the way it's worded here is leaving a lot up to the Community Development and Services Committee to select and to interact with the students. And, you know, certainly, you know, part of that discussion could be, you know, it would be nice to have some sort of commitment from students longer term than just coming to a couple meetings than that. So I don't think this wording excludes that we ask for some commitment from the students. Representative Adams, did you want to share your thoughts?
Well, this new wording seems fine to me, you know.
All right. Well, I guess we could possibly make a motion to, I guess, what would be the correct terminology to revise Rule 9.2.1 of the RTM rules to this wording that I've read aloud and we see here that we have from the town attorney and replace the rule wording that was approved last month. Would anybody like to make a motion like that?
Go ahead, Karen.
Okay, I'll just make the motion that we accept the revised wording of Rule 9.2.1 that was made by the town attorney as gospel, you know.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay. So Representative Luck is seconding it, excuse me.
I mean, as you said, Representative Richards, you know, we certainly are not attorneys, and considering the fact that Representative Whitehouse was actually doing the composing of the language of the rule, and he certainly is not an attorney. You know, we kind of made a little, I guess, legal mistake in our ignorance. And there's no problem I see with, you know, changing the wording to make it fit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Representative Whitehouse drafted some and I drafted some. I don't want to leave that out too. But right, you know, we aren't going to pick up on all of that, and that's, you know, why we have other support from the town as well to help us with that. And I think we can make this switch and we can fulfill our purpose and our goal here and continue with it. Do you want to discuss this any further before we vote?
Not me.
No, I think I'm all set.
Okay. So all in favor of suggesting this revision to the RTM, you say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so since you're the only two here, I'm assuming we don't have any nays or abstentions. Yes, Town Clerk?
I should have said something before this, but that last sentence in the second paragraph where it says develop strategies for outreach to the student population item, I think you should strike item. I don't think it makes sense.
Yes, I think that would fix what's there. Thank you, because I noticed that when I was reading and then we didn't go back to it.
Exactly. I knew you pointed it out, but oops.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so it'd be develop strategies for outreach to the student population. Strike item. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that doesn't make sense if you leave it in.
Okay, so let's amend our motion to be a revision with that word item struck out. Representative Adams, do you say aye, nay? Are you an abstention?
I'm sorry, what?
I went quickly. Would you say yes or no, or want to have an abstention to voting for that?
Yeah, go ahead, change it. I don't care.
And Representative Luck, are you okay with that
Yes.
change as well? Okay.
I'm sorry, I just didn't understand where you were going.
No, that's fine. I kind of jumped. Okay, so we're done with that item, and I will present that with the meeting minutes at the full RTM meeting next week. There are just two things I want to comment on, and then we can wrap up for this meeting. One, we did, since our last RTM meeting, get some feedback about the childcare reimbursement question to the town attorney. And I think that went out to all RTM members. It looks basically like that's not going to be within the realm of possibility because there's too much of a chance for a conflict of interest related to that. But if anybody else wants to talk about that in more depth, or has anything they want to add to that, or bring up an alternative in the future, certainly that is an option. Any discussion on that before we move on?
No, none.
And the last thing is, I think all of you probably got the email from one of our town citizens, J.C. Amboise, about the creation of the Civilian Oversight Research Committee. I also have to think about that one for a minute. And he had some concerns about whether there was some overlap with public safety, with its purpose, and some of the composition. Our moderator, Eben, replied to a lot of that. And I know Representative Thomas, who chairs that committee, also is involved in some discussion, as well as I think the town clerk. I looked at it and I replied to Mr. Amboise, and I think that Moderator Eben's responses showed that there was adequate difference, and that the concerns I didn't feel were something that warranted a big change or move. Certainly, if any RTM member thinks that we should look into this further as the Rules and Procedures Committee, we can, and we we can do that thoroughly. But my look at it, I didn't see that those items were justified, and that committee is a temporary committee that will probably be finalizing its mission in the next month or two. It's not a permanent committee, and for those reasons that I didn't put it on an agenda for us. But if anybody wanted to discuss that at all, or want to put it on the agenda, please say so. It's quiet. This sounds like a no. All right. Well, if anyone would like to make a motion to adjourn, I think.
I'll move
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. I heard Adams and then Luck, so we can adjourn. We'll accept that. Do we need to vote on that one? Do we vote on that?
No, you really don't have to vote on adjournment ever. It's if you can just say that everybody wants to.
Okay. Well, we are in agreement, and you guys are the committee, so I think we can adjourn. All right. Thank you, everybody, for your time and your thought on this. I'm glad we can come to a consensus, and I will be seeing you all next Monday or Wednesday at our full RTM.
All right.